Okay, let's get started. This is a mini copywriting course in which we're going to examine two example pages of what I consider to be successful copywriting. Now, before you actually go through the content of this video, what you want to do is go to, let's see, my blog, organicceo.com/blog, and there's a post that I made on there called How a Coffee Franchise Reacted to External Pressure. And this gives a summary of the story that's central to both of these pages. So real quickly, Tim Hortons is a Canadian coffee franchise, and it was running advertisements from Enbridge, which is an energy company. It was running these ads on the TV screens inside the actual physical locations in some of its locations in Canada. And the ads in question were trying to make the Canadian public friendly towards this oil project. And someofus.org, which is an organization that often campaigns against corporations and wants to make sure that corporations hold themselves accountable for the actions that they take and all that stuff. Someofus.org created this online petition, actually several online petitions, to try to get Tim Hortons to stop playing the Enbridge ads. So it's a very detailed story, very dramatic, lots of little details, but I provide a summary of that on my blog post, so make sure you read that before you continue this video. And real quickly, what this course is, I wanted to create this course so that you could have two examples of successful pages, or rather two examples of successful copywriting. Both of these pages that you see on the screen here are online petition pages, and I'll go through each one in a few minutes. And they were both petitioning for the same thing. They basically wanted Tim Hortons to stop playing these ads because there's a variety of reasons, most of which are environmental. Enbridge was promoting this project, oil pipeline project that was probably going to destroy some of Canada's nature, environmental stuff, and all of that. But the fact is that both of these pages have elements of copywriting that I want to go over and explain why these pages work, because they achieve their end goal and we can learn from them. So the reason that I'm doing this course right now is because, first of all, it's based on a recent current event story. So now being June 2015, depending on when you listen to this course or go through the material, that may have passed. But as of right now, this is a very recent thing, so it's pretty relevant. And I actually am subscribed to someofus.org's email list. So today, in fact, I got an e-blast from them, aka an email notification from them. The subject line was death threats. I opened the email, I read through it, and that's how I learned about this whole Tim Hortons story versus Enbridge versus some of us trying to get Tim Hortons to stop playing the Enbridge ads. So I thought this is a very intriguing real-life example of a cause that somebody is trying to further and using copywriting to further that cause. So, whenever I'm passionate about a certain cause, I like to help the people that are promoting that cause communicate better, because that's how we actually get achievement, or that's how we actually persuade others to join our cause and to take action. So communication, especially written communication, now with the internet, it's a great opportunity to actually communicate our message and get it across. And so these two pages that you're looking at on this screen, hopefully they're showing up on the video, these give us an opportunity to really study the elements of copywriting. So when I say copywriting, that's just any piece of writing that is created in order to sell something. It can be anything. You're selling an idea, you're selling a product, you're selling an action. In this case, we're looking at youleadnow.ca. This webpage is an online petition. What they're selling is they want people to read this page and then sign the petition, fill out their name, email, phone number, postal code, and then click that sign button. That's the ultimate idea that they want to sell on this page. So, and what I mean by copywriting elements, any piece of writing, any piece of copywriting tends to have the same sort of general structure to it. So we have a headline, we've got a body of text, we've got some different elements throughout the body, we've got a call to action. So there's just these basic elements that are involved in any successful piece of copy. Okay, so the other thing before you go through this course is you want to make sure you read through these pages first. And depending on how you found this course, I probably should have sent you an email with the links to both of these 2 pages. So you just want to read through them as if you're, a brand new reader and you've never seen these before. Take special note of your reactions to the copy as you read it, because both of these are designed to elicit strong emotional reactions. So just read through these. They're super short. And you should have the links to that, each of those. Otherwise, this presentation won't make very much sense. So if you haven't done that, just pause this video and go take a few minutes to read through the pages. That said, if you have read the pages, let's dive into what's going on both of these pages. So we'll start with this page right here, the you.leadnow.ca. This page starts off with a headline in all capital letters: Dear Tim Hortons, we want coffee, not climate change. So it's a very strong headline that creates a sense of intrigue. Like you read that and you're like, we want coffee, not climate change. What does that mean? This page is aimed at Canadian customers who have bought coffee or pastries at Tim Hortons. It may not be familiar in the U.S. There's only a few states in the U.S. that have Tim Hortons, but this is going to connect right away with any Canadian who has ever bought something at Tim Hortons. And so that's a very important element to any sales page, any email campaign. You want to have a strong headline that immediately catches the attention and creates a reason to keep reading the rest of the page. So then we jump down here to the body of the page. And right away, the first sentence says it all. Like it establishes a clear sense of purpose. We call on you to end your advertising partnership with Enbridge Inc. So this reads like a letter directly to Tim Hortons. And it's saying we want you to end your advertising partnership with Enbridge. So right now the reader has a choice of whether or not they want to continue reading. They want to know who the heck is Enbridge, what is it, why are we calling for this ending of the partnership? And the reader will keep reading because it's pretty, intriguing at this point. The second paragraph answers that exact question. Who is Enbridge? What are they? They're a corporation that has lost the trust of Canadians by trying to push through a pipeline and tanker project widely opposed by local communities in British Columbia, First Nations, experts, and even Christy Clark, the Premier of British Columbia. So right away it answers the question of why do we care about this? What is Enbridge? and what are they up to? So it gives you that information straightforward right away. And then in the next paragraph, we've got a lot going on here. As Canadians, we hold Tim Hortons dear to our hearts, and that's why we are appalled by your partnership with Enbridge Inc. You are using the trust we have put into you to promote a company and ultimately a project that has clearly lost confidence of the people in BC and all across Canada. So in the first sentence, we're doing two things. This copy is doing two things. First of all, it's giving Tim Hortons a compliment, and it's sort of positioning itself as, friendly to Tim Hortons. We hold you dear to our hearts, and that's why we're appalled by your partnership with Enbridge. So it's calling out Tim Hortons. It's positioning them as, we love you. However, this action that you're taking, we do not agree with this. There's, something seriously wrong with this action that you're taking. And then the copy is calling out Tim Hortons. You're using the trust we've put into you to promote a company that we don't agree with and a project that we don't agree with. It's very powerful. So on the one hand, it appeals to the ego of Tim Hortons, management or leadership. And then on the other hand, it says, hey, dude, you need to look at this action that you're taking because we strongly disagree with it. Next paragraph, we want Timbits and honey crullers with our coffees, not bitumen and climate change. Hope I'm saying that right. So Timbits, I'm assuming that's like, something that Tim Hortons sells. Honey crullers, it's a pastry or something. So we want pastries with our coffee, not these little, oil thingies that are going on. We don't want that, or we don't want climate change. This is a pretty powerful sentence, especially to a Canadian who has purchased anything from Tim Hortons. The other thing with this sentence too, if you look at this sentence, the way that it's structured, it's actually contrasting two completely different things in the same sentence. And that is something that I call contrast writing. That's where you're taking one thing and juxtaposing it with its polar opposite, so to speak. So we've got pastries and coffees, and then we've got climate change, and let me just look up what that actual word is. Bitumen, a black viscous mixture of hydrocarbons obtained naturally as a residue of petroleum distillation. Okay, so sounds yucky, right? So we've got two completely different things. We want the pastries and the coffee. We don't want all that other environmentally polluting stuff that you've got for us. Okay, and then the next section of this page, why is this important? And you notice this is a little like mini subheadline here, which is great because giving a reason as to why people should care about this issue, why people should take the action. It's been shown that if you give people a reason, they're like 90% or something more likely to actually comply with your request. And this was actually talked about in the book Influence by Robert Cialdini. Giving people a reason why they should take action makes them more likely to comply. So we have a whole section here on why is this important, aka why should the reader care about this and take action. So it starts off with a little paragraph from Enbridge's PR team where they're kind of talking about what it means to be a Canadian, basically. And the copy of the page says, being part of the pantheon of classical Canadiana comes with great responsibility. Tim Hortons is part of our daily life across Canada. They sponsor our hockey teams. They get us our daily breakfast and our coffee. and they send our children to camp every summer. For many, Tim Hortons is a symbol of what it means to be a Canadian. And over the past 5 years, one thing has become clear: Canadians have rejected the expansion of pipelines and tankers in our communities. We love our iced caps, but we love the polar ice caps more. So there's a lot going on in these couple of paragraphs, right? We're kind of creating this sense of nostalgia almost, or I guess like pride, taking pride in what it means to be a Canadian. So Tim Hortons apparently is a very important part of what it means to be a Canadian. And yet, Canadians over time have shown that they're not interested in these oil pipeline projects that are invading their natural landscapes. And it's implying here that if Tim Hortons is running these ads from Enbridge, aka the company that's got this huge pipeline project in the works, by doing that, Tim Hortons is basically going against everything that it means to be a Canadian. So that's very powerful stuff right there. And then this last sentence, again, this is another like tagline similar to the one that we saw further up the page about honey crullers. We want honey crullers with our coffees, not bitumen and climate change. This sentence, we love our iced caps, which is probably iced cappuccino of some sort, but we love the polar ice caps more. That's a very powerful statement that, again, is showing like two opposites. Yes, we love our iced cappuccinos, but we're willing to not buy those. We're willing to boycott your company for the sake of saving our polar ice caps. That's a huge message there, a huge like form of taking a stand. And of course there's a bit of wordplay there with the word caps, which is pretty cool. Okay, so what Tim Hortons symbolizes in terms of like what it means to be a Canadian and all that stuff, it's like, okay, this one action that you're taking goes against all of that. The page continues, from BC to Nova Scotia, communities have opposed the expansion of fossil fuel infrastructure that will put our communities at risk and our climate in the path of runaway climate change. If Tim Hortons is to maintain the trust they have with Canadians, they must end their advertising partnership with Enbridge. Okay, so that's the bottom line. We want you to stop running these ads. And remember, the person reading this is, the general like Canadian consumer or perhaps US consumer. They're the ones reading this, but it's almost like we're peeking into this letter that's being directed to Tim Hortons. And the next element of this page, there's a couple of sources listed. So there's, 2 articles here. 61% of Canadians say protecting the climate is more important than pipelines and tar sands. So the reader can click on that for further information. And there was also a blog article from Enbridge's website, which has since been removed. If you click on it, it's not there anymore, but I assume there was something there. So just having those sources, like being able to back up facts and provide like the factual information, is always a very powerful thing to have on any piece of copy. And moving down the page, we have a section called Reasons for Signing. This is a very powerful section. This is what's known as social proof. And if you look through this, these are like excerpts, or these are basically lines that people who signed this petition typed in. So these are actual responses from other people who signed this petition. So, we have Linda J. Tim's not owned by Canadians anymore. I guess this is why Enbridge is going to try this. Let's see. see if we can find a good one here. And then there's this link here at the bottom that you can click on it to read more, and it populates more responses, and 3 at a time, which is pretty cool. So here's a pretty simple, straightforward one. I won't go back to Timmy's until they agree to cease this advertising. So this is somebody named, I don't know even how to pronounce this, Hereward P. So whoever this person was, they signed the petition, and they typed in, "I won't go back to Timmy's until they agree to cease this advertising." That's a pretty bold statement. So this is a customer who obviously has purchased coffee from them, and they're not going to do so until the ads have stopped. And here's another one from a different person. The last thing I want with my morning coffee is politics. What I do want is a habitable planet. How could they sell out to a PR company? So disappointed. That's a pretty good one too. And then here's one from Jackie C. She says, or he says, "I do not want to support the advertising of the Enbridge pipeline as a good thing for Canada / British Columbia, so I will not go back until they pull these ads." And there's quite a few of these. I've actually collected a few of my favorites into a separate document, so you should have access to that. But, you know, this is really powerful social proof, right? This is like showing the fact that other people have signed this petition, and they have strong opinions about it, and they are not going to buy coffee from Tim Hortons until the ads are pulled. And here's another one. "Consider yourselves boycotted until you drop this partnership." It's like, bam, done. So imagine being on the receiving end of this. You're Tim Hortons, and your, marketing or whoever department is receiving tons and tons of these messages from customers who are telling you they're not going to buy from you anymore until you stop running the ads, because they disagree with that. So it's very powerful on two fronts. First of all, as a reader of this page, you're seeing, hey, other people have signed this petition. Maybe I should sign it too. So social proof, really, really good stuff, really powerful in terms of persuading readers to take action. Okay, scrolling down the page a little bit further, we have the final section, which is called Updates. Again, this is also social proof, but it's not as powerful. This shows sort of a timeline for the number of signatures that were signed on this petition. So 18 days ago, there were 10 signatures. And then it just increases. 17 days ago, there were 1,000 signatures. And so it's a little bit more social proof, and it's also showing a sense of progress. It's like implying that progress is being made through this petition. And this was a very small petition, so I guess their goal was 2,000 signatures. And as of today, they ended up with 1,292 signatures. And just from doing my research, I know that they already achieve their objective, because Tim Hortons announced that they would stop showing the Enbridge ads. So it was actually very successful. And then let's see, a couple more elements of this page. If you notice on the right-hand side here, we have a big call to action, and it's just one word, sign. So the call to action is, we want you to sign this petition. So we have a little form to fill out with your contact information. We have a big red button to click sign. And that is the one action that this page wants you to take, you as a reader. And then we also have on the left-hand side here, we've got a couple of social media sharing icons. So Facebook and Twitter, obviously the two most popular social media sites. You can share this on Facebook, and you can email it. If you click on this email button, a little pop-up shows up here, and basically says, help spread the word about this campaign by emailing your friends and family. Copy and paste the text below into your email to get started. Tip: calls to action work best if you tell people why you care about this issue, so don't be afraid to edit the email and share some of your personal story. So it makes it super, super easy for whoever to email this to their friends and family. It's got a little like boilerplate template with generic thing that people can copy and paste, and it's also encouraging people to personalize this so that it has more persuasiveness. So that's this page. That's the analysis of this online petition. And again, a little note on the structure, as I mentioned before, this general structure can be used whether you're creating a sales page, selling a product, or you're creating an email that you want people to click on a link to a sales page. So no matter what the actual format is, this general structure is usually the same. So headline, body, social proof, etc., etc. Okay, let's jump over to the second example, which is someofus.org. So again, this has to do with the same story. Tim Hortons, we want you to stop running the Enbridge ads. And this is just a different page. So different organization, someofus.org. Now this one, the top of the page is actually some social proof. So if you look at this, they're showing a screenshot of something that Margaret Atwood tweeted. And Margaret Atwood is a famous Canadian author. She's actually one of my favorite authors that I really liked in high school. I haven't read any of her work recently, but she was one of my favorite authors. She's known for being pro-environmental and has written a number of novels and that sort of thing. So she tweeted about this, and she says in her tweet, "Arg, you'll have to watch Enbridge's slick tar sands ads next time you're in Tim Hortons." So that's a little bit of social proof, like, hey, Margaret Atwood is paying attention to this issue and she doesn't approve of these ads. Right under that, we have a tweet from Tim Hortons saying to a customer, "We value your feedback, and the Enbridge advertisements are no longer airing on Tim's TV." And just under that, we've got a headline here: "We won. Thanks, Tim. Sorry, Enbridge." So obviously, someofus.org updated this page. This isn't the original petition page, but they updated it to show their victory. So we can kind of pretend that that's not there for a second and just look at the actual copy on the page. They've got more social proof, 32,000 signatures when their goal was 50,000. They've got a little update paragraph here, but then the actual petition starts here, and I'll go ahead and read some of that. "Now when you buy your morning double-double at Tim Hortons, you'll have to watch Enbridge's slick public relations ads about how great the tar sands are. This is pretty rich coming from the company that deleted islands out of public safety videos to make its Northern Gateway tar sands and tanker project look more safe. Enbridge is desperate to get support to build a massive tar sands and pipeline project from Alberta through British Columbia, and is spending millions to try to reach Canadians and change public opinion." All right, so the body so far in these first three paragraphs, pretty gripping copy. The tone of voice is kind of sarcastic, it's condemning, it's attacking Enbridge, and really just, giving the reader a reason to keep reading this. And then it continues a bit it says, Timmy's, ditch your Enbridge ad campaign or we'll ditch you. So again, it's giving an ultimatum. It's giving a course of, or a call to action that they want this coffee company to take. Ditch your Enbridge ad campaign or we'll ditch you. That's pretty straightforward. There's no confusion. There's no ambiguity about what we want, right? It's very direct and powerful. Let's see, so if you read through the rest of this page, let's see, it kind of exposes the ads and what's going on with the advertising. Enbridge ad campaign uses attractive actors, cute kids, and high production values to hide the real truth, that its tar sands project will put ecosystems, salmon, and wildlife in danger, create virtually no local jobs, and accelerate climate change. And when oil spills happen, local communities won't simply be able to board a plane elsewhere. Right? Very graphic images. We can picture what's really going on here. And then this next paragraph, Tim Hortons might not be a Canadian company anymore. It was just bought by Burger King, but the company relies on its customers in Canada who are the main buyers of its products, and that's how we can stop them. A public outcry will let Timmy's know that it can't get away with shilling tar sands without us coming together to stop it. And then here, of course, is the call to action for the reader, the person reading this page. Sign the petition now to Tim Hortons. Drop your tar sands ad campaign now. So again, very powerful call to action. No mistaking what we want the reader to do. And it goes on for a little bit. And the end of the body is this sentence. Apparently Enbridge hasn't had its morning coffee yet because it isn't getting the message that this project won't be built. So again, it's a little bit of a play on words. Haven't had their morning coffee yet, haha. A little bit of humor, nice way to end this otherwise very serious campaign. And that's basically the content for this page. And again, similar layout here. We've got in the upper right corner, sign the petition to Tim Hortons. Drop your ad campaign with Enbridge now. Boom, done. Gives the reader option to fill out their name, zip code, click the orange sign the petition button, and done. So I hope that is helpful. Again, these two pages, this campaign overall was successful because Tim Horton made the announcement on Twitter that they would no longer be airing the commercials, the advertisements. So it was successful. It was a successful campaign. Now, if you go to my blog post where I gave a description and a summary of this whole story, I entertained some additional questions, such as whether or not Tim's Coffee or whatever was making that decision based on their true values. That's a whole nother issue, a whole nother question. But for the sake of studying successful copywriting, these two pages are examples of what can work. So use this information to improve your own campaigns, whether it's sales pages or email campaigns or whatever it is. Just keep in mind the different elements of copywriting. You want to have a really strong headline. Each sentence should be designed to make the reader continue reading, and you should have a clear call to action. There should be no mistaking what you want the reader to do, and it should be one action per page. That's how you're going to get the results that you want, whether it is more subscribers, more sales, more customers, or just getting your message out, or saving the world, or inciting the downfall of an industry that's corrupt, or whatever your desired results are. When you follow this structure and you have all these different elements in your pieces of writing, that's going to help you achieve your goals much more easier. So that is it for today's presentation. This is Michelle Lopez from organicceo.com. Quick copywriting course with 2 examples of successful pieces of copy. Hope that was helpful. If you have any questions, email me at michelle@organicceo.com.